What's good, what's good? It's your Uncle Cam Wood, also known as the rapper Barber. And look, we're back with another one. I actually got a special video for this one. This one is about cowlicks. You know, people get them cowlicks. You typically have them in the middle of your head. You know, they're real detrimental if you don't cut them right for waivers. But this client specifically has a cowlick right on the hairline. So we're going to hop into that today. We're going to see how I, basically navigate through the cowlick. And let's just see how this boy turn out. So first what I do is go in with my 1.5 against the grain. Yeah, I go against the grain close as I can to the locks without nicking them, because a lot of clients, not this one in particular, he typically has his hair done before they come and get their, haircut. But a lot of people, they come directly in from after a couple months not having a retwist, and it just makes it a little difficult trying to cut around that ridge. As you see, I'm holding my finger back, trying not to go too close, but it may look like I'm getting in there with my clipper, but it's really, you got to pay attention to the teeth of the guard. If you pay attention, you can see exactly where the hair is being cut, versus, the clipper versus the guard's teeth, because the guard's teeth sticks out a little further than the actual clipper. So just be mindful of that, and it'll cause less nicking, or if any at all, if you really pay close attention to it. As you see, we just, knocking that hair down, trying to get it down to an even length. Okay, now right here's where it gets tricky. You see, I'm knocking it down right now. And you can see the boy got a cowlick out this world. And I remember when I first cut it, I was like, oh man, hopefully I don't mess this up. I don't know how I'm gonna get this cut. It makes it look like it has, thinner spots, or like there's practically no hair there whatsoever, but there is. But needless to say, as you see, I'm cutting it in the direction of where the hair is going. A lot of his hair up there is growing left and right instead of just straight down like most people. But we gonna get that right, and you're gonna see how this mug turn out in the end. And as you see, I put my 1.5 back on, and I'm getting back busy. Same thing that I was doing on the other side, just trying to get it all down to one desired length. And I believe on the top, I went with a 1, close going down. I didn't go against the grain up top, like I said, because of the cowlick. I don't have a particular reason why, but sometimes I just kind of go all the way around instead of just doing one panel at a time. I go in and just get everything down to the desired length. So I guess I don't have to just keep going back to, the guards that I used, and just a lot of going back and forth. Kind of just like to use whatever I got and just knock down as much as I can and do whatever I need to do with that guard. You also can see how I'm playing with that ridge right there. You saw me pin it back a little bit just so you can't, nick the locks, because they're real easy to nick, especially when they haven't had a retwist. But right here you see I'm going in with my Tune 45 Babeless. Go ahead and get in that ball line for my mid taper. Clean that out right there. Yeah, you see. Then I hit the back of the beard. Like I said, whatever I got in my hand, I try to do as much as I can with whatever it is that I have in my hand. So I might mess around and start doing this lineup or whatnot. Clean that up right there, yep. Clean up around them tattoos too. Sometimes it'll be a little hair growing up out of there, but no hair left behind. That's how I'm rocking. Yeah, you see, I jump right in doing the neckline, boom. I'm trying to minimize as much time as possible. And just going back and forth. Just if I got it, whatever I got in my hand, I'm gonna try to knock out everything I possibly can with that one thing. Make sure you use them corners, pin that ear down. Get them corners to get around that ear. You know, hopefully you're not heavy-handed or nothing like that. You know, that spot right there has always been sensitive for me over the years. But I've managed to, you know, finally get my touch and just not, you know, nick anybody back there, or because for some reason they had that little little meat back there. You'd be like, ugh, it's a little loose back there. You don't want to just be back there cutting like you ain't got no sharp trimmers in your hand. But, you know, as you see right there, see, I'm using my corners, just kind of holding that ear back and getting in there, you know, but being gentle. All right, now we about to go into this phase. Like I said before, on my previous video, you know, I do guidelines, but not heavy, you know, especially when it goes from the ball line up. Unless there's a lot of hair that needs to be debulked, I'll do the debulking first. But once I go from that ball line, I'm going clipper close, and I'm itching my way up that fade. And as you see, it's gonna turn out real smooth. Watch. That's why you can't skip the journey, just go through the maze. This is serious, being broken. And if you made it this far, you already know I play my music in the background. They don't call me the rapper Barber for nothing. New single called Members Only, playing in the background. New song that I just made. You know, I make the beats, I do the productions. I pretty much do everything from graphic design, editing videos, and whatnot. I'm what you would call a DIYer. Yeah, I think I said that right. A DIYer. But go stream that right now. It's called Members Only. You know, all social platforms, all streaming platforms. You hear it in the back of the videos every time. So that's what I'm gonna give y'all. This gonna be the vibe. You know, you follow me, you're gonna get the Kamwood experience. You're gonna get, you know, F1S clothing. You're gonna get some motivational talks. You're gonna get music. You're gonna get fire cuts. Like, you're just gonna grow from here, and we're gonna see where it takes us. Yeah, you see that's coming out pretty blurry right now. Just gotta hit the top of that real quick. You know, when I put my one on, then that'll clean that up right there. And as you see, I'll go straight in with to the beard. Wait till I get that beard together. That beard gonna make this cut look 10 times fire. You know, trying to stick with doing, you know, a video a week. I'm really gonna try my best, man. I know I've been talking about it, been saying that's what I wanted to do. I've been telling myself, like, Cam, you gotta start putting that content out consistently, which I do. But sometimes I kind of view myself as a jack of all trades, and a jack of all trades can be good to a certain extent, but I feel like with me, it comes from boredom and doing the same thing over and over and over. Sometimes I look at that as like, you know, I get bored. It's like, man, I want to switch some things up. I want to do something different, do something exciting. I'll be looking for that, you know, instant gratification, I guess you could say it. But when it comes to me doing something new, not necessarily looking for validation from other people, but just within me. So I gotta realize, you know, I gotta keep putting up these shots, and, you know, everybody hasn't seen what I can do. But if I focus on one thing right now and put my energy into it, let's get it to grow. You know what I'm saying? As they say, you know, you got 10 seeds, you plant 10 seeds, and you gotta giving a little water to each. But if you plant one seed, you be putting a lot of water into that one seed, so it's gonna grow much faster. Then you'll be able to have, a tree with many branches. Comes with, extra streams of income and other things that you're capable of doing. So, I'm just having a reality check with me and just being like, yo, Cam, you know how to do so many things, but what do they know you for? Or what are you known for? What are you really good at? Let's focus on that. Let's put these videos out. Let's get this content going. Let's be consistent. 2026 is right around the corner. So when I look back, I think man, what did I do? What did I achieve? What goals did I put out there to say that I was going to do this? And did I do it? That's all. I'm probably my biggest critic when it comes to doing anything that I put my hands on. But as you see right now, we jumping right into the lineup. As you see, I'm not going back all the way into the heavy areas. There is some hair in areas where it looks very thin. It's just probably hard to see. But we definitely, ghost line it right across. We gonna get that thing buttered. My client does like using enhancements just on the front hairline. When I'm done with it, it's pretty crispy. Especially once I hit that razor line on there, it's pretty crispy. But client satisfaction is the most important thing. All these barbers are pretty, back and forth about using enhancements and things of that nature. Me personally, it's not that big of a deal. I feel like, if a client say, hey, I don't want enhancements, cool. No enhancements, not that big of a deal. You should be able to know how to cut a natural cut anyway. You see, I'm coming over right now. On the other side, I got my, that little light right there. Been bugging me. I've been trying to get my lighting right. But, I'm learning my camera settings. I'm learning what it is I can do to make sure my content is good quality, digestible. I don't want to put out no crap, but at the same time, you got to put your shots up. You got to keep going. The more you do it, regardless of what it is that you're doing, the more you do it, you just naturally gonna get better. I wasn't always as good as I think I am when it comes to barbering. I look back on my cuts back in the day and I just be like, man, I can't believe people was actually paying me for that. But now I can see oh man, I'm starting to see a lot of things that I was, missing or messing up on. And, the more cutting and the better my tools got, the more I can start seeing, the more techniques I've learned to help, better my fades and my lineups, how my line supposed to look. All those things, man, they all matter. You gotta always focusing on bettering your craft. When I better my craft, I get happy clients, happy clients that's willing to come back and actually share, who they barber is. They be happy to know, Cam Wood, my barber, people will stop them in the street. I feel like if your cuts is good, people gonna stop them in the street and be like, hey, who's your barber? I need his number right now. And I get that. And it feels good because, the clients that you do right now, they walking billboards, man. You gotta make sure they A1. When they A1, they looking good. You already know they swag is on 10 when they done left the chair. They feeling good. They about to go somewhere regardless if it's at, the mall or grocery store or pumping gas. It don't matter. They gonna be outside. Somebody gonna see that cut and be wondering hey. And I feel like that's a better than a business card or an ad or anything, because when somebody stop you and ask you who did your cut, you gotta realize these people talking to strangers. A stranger came up to you and asked you who did the cut, that mean that cut was butter that day. No lie. But as you see right now, we taking care of that back. doing the same thing I normally do. Is I just, inching my way up one notch at a time until I get my 0.5, and then I take my 0.5 and I just do the same thing until that, that takes care of that blend. But we're gonna see that come together. Watch. That's why you can't skip the journey, just go through the maze. This is serious. Being broke can make you delirious. So we pray and grind for our ones to be bigger. Kamwood, how I feel to be a millionaire member. This is serious. Being broke can make you delirious. So we pray and grind for our ones to be bigger. Kamwood, how I feel to be a millionaire member. It don't stop at all. Climb fast to the top, then it's harder to fall. Just move at your speed, no shame in the crawl. Once you get it, then you got it, then forever you ball. Been chipping at my future, just creating it all. Yeah, that boy coming together right before your eyes. Yep, you just take your time with it. Don't rush, when you're using these guards and your trimmers, sometimes it don't always be just 1, 2, 3, like that easy. Sometimes you got to open your eyes and you got to look. You got to basically know how to draw in people's heads and not mess up. And if you do mess up, you got to know how to fix it to where that client still feel like the cut is exactly what they want. You feel me? So just take your time. If there's anybody out there that's just starting to cut and you just got a barber school and wondering how come, in barber school they don't teach you how to fade like this or do enhancements or none of that. It's just basically sanitation. Get your license and you be good. But this right here, yeah. You see, now, my bad, because I tried to use, the razor footage, but my razor footage, I didn't set it up properly. When I was doing the razor, my arm and everything was all in the way, so I'm like, that would have been some good footage so you could see exactly what I'm doing, but maybe next time, I'll be able to get it a little better next time. But as you see right here, we getting that filled in. That hairline coming together, the beard line looking crisp, stayed on the outside, then dig down into them deep areas. Just putting some shape to it, putting some swag on them. This guy right here, he's a football coach for Dansville, so he got to stay looking the part. He be on them cameras, looking big time, so the cut got to be up to par for the show. See, look at that right there, boy. Fill it in. Point is on pointing. And degrees, angles is on degreeing. We getting a straight line. We going over it. Look at that. Yes, sir. See, now with cuts like this, he need to go ahead and they need to go undefeated. With cuts like this, you can't be out there losing. But as you see, we got the cut looking right, on point. You see the F1S in the back. And the only thing I want y'all to remember is in order to do for others, you must first do for oneself. F1S.
I'm back, baby. I'm back. I'm back.
I can make a mess. You stay right up a couple 100,000 for 30 days. You know how lame it is to run me about a nigga through a text. You know how fast I turn your favorite nigga into your favorite ex. Fuck, I broke a job.